I am live and I am tired. Oh my God. How are you guys? How is your corona virus quarantine, social isolation, whatever you want to call it, going? I hope it's going okay. I hope you're all fine. It's been a rough week for many of us. Our last 2 weeks, you could say. And I just hope everybody's fine. And I hope everybody's enjoying their Star Trek Picard. I'm sharing the link here on a few groups. See if anybody wants to join me for a live chat. Just give me a second. Season finale of Star Trek Picard, and it was a good one. It was a good season finale. I liked it actually a lot. There were things that I thought it missed, but for the most part, I thought it was really awesome. Especially considering how flat I thought last week was. And I noticed that maybe a lot of people didn't like that I went flat on it. I didn't get that many views on last week's video, but that said, regardless, right? Thank you. I always have to thank you guys that do watch. And the episode from the week before had about 300 views, which is awesome. So it's like, wow, thank you. You guys rock. It's labor of love here. I'm not making any money off of this. It's just, something I enjoy doing. I enjoy communicating. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy that your comments. Sometimes you don't leave your comments on the video, but you leave them on whatever Facebook page I happen to drop these videos on, and they're always very insightful. Thank you for subscribing. I got a couple of subscribers off of these last videos. We are waiting for Star Trek Discovery, which, by the way, did you see the little super fast promo at the start? But it was all kind of cool. So we got a lot to break down, So please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and we can talk Star Trek for years to come, especially with our little quarantine at the moment. Which, by the way, you guys let me know if you think this is a good idea, because I'm thinking of binging Star Trek. Binging. From Star Trek, the original series, all the way up to Star Trek Enterprise. And then I've seen both seasons of Star Trek Discovery, but I only started doing my podcast on season 2. So I think, I could go back and do a season 1 review. So what do you guys think of that? Let me know. I'm seeing some comments here on Facebook. So I wonder how the critics that want to knock down Picard are going to destroy what is a stellar conclusion to the first season. A pretty satisfying season finale. I think some people are upset with the last little touch. The last little touch at the end. I can understand their feelings. We'll get to that. Is Picard, is it clone Picard? Is it really Picard now? It's an interesting, let me see. Somebody said, hey, boss, I have a great idea for the season finale. It goes like this. Lando Calrissian comes with reinforcement, and Picard changes Dr. Selvig's mind just in the nick of time, and the wormhole closes as soon as we see Thanos' army. Romulans retreat. The Doctor, Helen Cho, transfer the mind of Ultron, Picard to synthetic body. What do you think? It sounds perfect. Now let's pitch this to Patrick Stewart ASAP. There's no way he can say no to this. So yes, this really irked some people. I see that was somebody in the Star Trek Picard group. I'm not gonna say their name for privacy's sake. Uh, One small complaint. More that one ship model of the Federation fleet would have been nice. I know an army of fans that would oblige and make a suitable model for free. I thought it looked like it was the same, but I think there were definitely different designs. I would have liked to have seen the Enterprise myself. With the saving of Picard, at least it was well explained and foreshadowed and not seem like Deus Ex Machina. Though I was kind of hoping that there would be a season cliffhanger with the arrival of the Federation fleet or Picard's death. Yeah. So basically, I'll be reading some more comments as I go through the different pages that I'm posting in. Guys, I thought that this episode did what it had to do. It did what it had to do, which is get us to a satisfying ending, and set up a second season. Okay, the first half of this episode was very much a setup. A few things kind of irked me. Mainly the Vulcan mind meld coming from an android, but we already talked about that. So this one kind of picks up where the other one left off, and yeah, the first half, I'm not gonna lie, it didn't intrigue me that much. The first 20 minutes or so wasn't very intriguing. I had a really long day too. I teach at a high school, and we're doing all online classes, and it's very tiring. Uh, Way more tiring to do online classes than actually being in the classroom. And so I had already spoken for 5 hours, and then I took like a mini. I was gonna take a mini nap, but I decided to watch this season finale, and then I just went out and got some food, delivery food. Okay, I'm not, being in contact with people that much, and decided to make the video right after. So I was tired. I am still a little bit tired. So because of that, maybe like the first part, I was like, oh, I caught myself almost dozing off because there wasn't much really happening, other than boom, explosion, boom, Picard escaping, Girardi kind of helping him escape, playing double agent again, which was kind of nice. But I don't know, Girardi, I started out the season really liking her character and then not being sure, because she was a little Tilly-ish, but the bad side of Tilly, where she's too much like green, let's say. She's a little too green for my taste at the moments. But then she was like a cold-blooded murderer, and then she wasn't, and then did she have to turn herself into Starfleet, by the way? Because I noticed in the end it was was it all forgiven? I don't know. So sorry, I'm looking here at more comments. Somebody said that Star Trek Picard is good enough, but in the next season it would be good to have some self-contained episodes unrelated to the overall storyline. What do you think? Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind that. I mean, as much as I dig that the long story arcs, I don't know if Star Trek needs to do that. I think Star Trek fans know how to deal with bottle episodes, or monster of the week, as they used to say for the X Files. I think Star Trek fans are already accustomed to that. The younger ones can get accustomed, I guess. Um, and so, yeah, I'm not sure if we need to feed the season long story arc beast constantly. I don't think it's necessary. It's that necessary to do. So I kind of agree with, hey, let's do some just solo episodes, but somebody here just said, just watched it on Amazon Prime. Absolutely amazing episode. I had laughs and cries all over it. Let's see if maybe they do that for the eventual Pike series, which I still believe is going to happen. I definitely think it is going to happen. Um, yeah, it's refreshing sometimes. I know that nowadays it's all about the season long arc. That's just the way TV works. But hey, I mean, there's successful shows, mostly on network TV, that don't operate that way. So why don't we um, try it and see if it works? I don't think the fans would be that upset. In fact, speaking of successful shows, even though I tried watching it, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but hey, I respect its fan base, I guess, if they're not being assholes to the Trekkies out there. But the Orville seems to be doing just fine. And it's operating on the premise of one-offs. You know, I think they had a two-parter. That's the one that I watched, by the way. It was the two-parter, and it was all right. I mean, but it wasn't enough to make me want to go back and watch the next episode. But it was all right. It was all right. But like I said, they seem to be doing okay. Uh, with their style of one-off episodes. So why can't the actual Star Trek? That was a little jab at you, Orville fans. Why can't the real Star Trek do the same? Why not? I think that they would be successful in doing it. I think the fan base would accept it, and it kind of gives you a breather a little bit. Let's focus on one issue for one episode. I think Star Trek works its magic. Like last year with, or season two, I think it was last year, time flies. Season two of Star Trek Discovery, I think it was the second, or is it the third episode where Pike and company landed on that planet that was like an Earth 2 type planet, and there was this whole religion built around something coming from the sky, and there was a little bit of a prime directive sort of debate going on. It worked. I thought it was kind of cool. I think a lot of people thought it was one of the better episodes from last season. So why not? Why not? Do it. I would experiment with it. But back to tonight's episode. So it started off, it picked up where the other one left off, but it just kind of showed how everybody was just two timing everybody. Girardi faked her allegiance to the android flag and tried to break Picard out of prison, out of house arrest. The little Romulan dude that I'm not a huge fan of, I always forget his name, Narek. He enters the artifact because everybody can just enter this artifact, come and go as they please. without any issues. I mean, this has been my issue since they introduced this artifact, and people just kept like beaming on and off of this thing like it was nothing. He goes in there, manages to sneak in, sneak out with some bombs. His sister is still alive, and he tells her what his plans are as far as blowing up those orchids, those that are supposed to kill the ships, and ends up that he's not going to do that. You know, he goes to the ship where was that La Sirena, you know, where Rios and Rafi are holed up trying to fix it, and says that, hey, I'm here, I want to kind of help you guys, because if these androids end up opening this wormhole or whatever, sending out this beacon for these creatures to come out, it's going to be the end of everything. So we have to destroy the beacon. I'm here to help you. Now, I was a little bit confused. You guys out there, as I always say every week, are a million times smarter than me. And perhaps you could explain why it is that the girl, what's that? Sutra, yeah, Sutra said to him, I have something that I need you to do for me. And then she let him escape. So I was confused because when we saw that he went back on his, on what he was going to do. Oh, no, no, look at that. See, I'm figuring it out in my head. So I guess no, was she, oh, I guess she wanted him to go out there to blow up the orchids. No, I don't know. I don't get what she wanted him to do. I mean, is it in the end what Sung said, that hey, she needed somebody to create an emotional reason for all the other synthetics to follow her and open up this portal to the new world? I guess that's what it was. I need you to do something for me, kill this bitch. But well, she could have done it herself, because in the end she showed her face. I don't know. That was badly written. I'm sorry. It was just badly written. I mean, or if you were gonna kill the other synth, kill her from the back, so you don't have any visual hint of who it was, or just don't show up in the image. I mean, she devised this whole plan and then she messed up with the most important part. Does that make sense, guys? All right. So you see, I have a little bit of problems with the beginning of the episode. I thought this whole thing was a little out there, let's say, to say the least. Let me see if we have anybody on. Say hello if you're on. And if you're watching this later, please like and subscribe. There will be more content on this page coming soon. I did not get a chance to see Westworld yet. Can you believe it? So I'm going to try to do that ASAP because I'm already behind. And I did see The Walking Dead and it sucked. So I don't even think I want to do Walking Dead podcast anymore because that show is just really, really, really crappy. But anyhow, we get to see. So now what happens? So now all the pieces are in motion. Rafi and Rios go back to Synth Town to try to save Picard, but Picard escapes Synth Town somehow. I don't know, with Girardi. I don't know how they got out because it was kind of heavily guarded. And he ends up back on the ship, which I just said the name of the ship, La Sirena, okay, the siren. And that's when we get Picard in Picard mode. Like, but I like that about Patrick Stewart's acting this season is that he started out very frail, and at the end, it's like he got a second life, which is really cool. And that scene was kind of nice, where he's like, "I'm trying to figure out how to fly this ship without crashing it." So his plan is to go up into space and somehow try to create a diversion so that the Romulans don't attack and kill all the synths. Meanwhile, trying to talk Soji out of opening the wormhole to synthetic hell. It was a nice scene. Obviously, it was cool to see Picard take command. I think that's what a lot of people have been waiting to see since this season began, and it did not disappoint. Okay, did not disappoint at all. And I'm trying to look here at some more comments, guys. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Didn't disappoint that much. And then we have kind of the Picard maneuver thing going, so there was a little bit of fan service there. And Soji, don't do this, don't be the destroyer. He gives his speech. I didn't like that they put the music in the back, like, hey guys, this is where you get the Picard you've been wanting all season, and here we're gonna have the dun 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 dun. Okay, I didn't need that. I think one thing this show has done so well is not hand feed us fan service. Uh, I mean, they had a few nods here, like Gerard said, "Make it so." I guess she's a student of Picard, so she knows that that's his catch line. I don't know how she would know that. Although I would have liked to have heard him say "Make it so." We did get an engage, a very clear engage at the end of the episode, but "Make it so" would have been nice. Anyway, he that's when the episode actually, it got to big Hollywood level with all the ships coming. The Romulan ships are there. Commander O is there. Is she gonna shoot? Is she not gonna shoot? Oh my God, it took forever. It's like, target the whole planet or just target the colony. No, target the whole planet. Okay, here we go. Oh, the flowers are coming. All right, let's destroy all the flowers. Okay, flowers are destroyed. Now, so get your torpedoes, photon torpedoes or whatever, ready. Okay, on my mark. Okay. Oh no, look, it's a single ship out there. Who is it? Ignore it. Okay, get your phasers ready. It's like, come on, just shoot, right? And that's when Picard managed to do his maneuver where it seemed as if there were like 100 of his ships or more. And that kind of created a diversion until what one of the phaser shots actually hit him. And so down goes Picard. I mean, the ship kind of floats off a little bit. He manages to get control of it again. And I don't know why the Romulans didn't just obliterate La Sirena when they saw that it was only one. But then here we go again. Phasers on stun or whatever. Disruptors ready. Focus on the planet. Meanwhile, the beacon goes out. The wormhole opens. Out come these. Man, sometimes it's that old trope, right? Best leave it to the imagination because I don't know what the beep that was. It was like some tapeworms, some synthetic tapeworms from some other dimension. Uh, I didn't dig it. I don't know. Did anybody else dig it? I wasn't really feeling these tapeworms from space, which goes back to that first comment that I said about the guy. It was like the from the first Avengers movies when those little creatures come out of the wormhole. I was like, but okay, whatever. I think it would have been best to just leave it to the imagination than actually have seen it. I was expecting something way cooler than that. I don't know, some V'ger type thing. I don't know, like not the actual V'ger, but I'm saying like like some big ass probe thing, or I don't know, something cooler than what we got. Definitely something cooler than what we got. And maybe Picard saying, "What does God need with a spaceship?" you know, but we got that instead, and it was what it was. Thankfully, they didn't cross completely over to this side. Getting crossed completely over to the side, and instead he's finally able to get through to Soji. Meanwhile, we get a last minute right before the Romulans are going to shoot for like the fifth time. This was nice, right? We got to see Riker in action, coming in with the ship who was some Chinese name. Let's see if I can find the. I guess this is Act 3. The Shang-He. Yeah, so Captain Will Riker comes on and says, "Hey, fall back, oh," and I loved it. That was cool. That was when that's when I started to get into the episode. And again, it's not fan service. Like, it made sense for that to happen. So I like that. I like that Picard didn't rest on fan service. It rested on, we're gonna bring some characters back, obviously, because it's in the same universe. So everybody didn't die, but we're gonna bring them back as they are essential, as per their essentiality to the story. And that was essential. I mean, he went to visit Riker and Troy, and Riker said, "Hey, I'm on reserve." I mean, so he got out of reserve and he went acting captain and went over there to kick Tasha Tal Shiar's kick your treacherous Tal Shiar ass. Okay, which was kind of nice. And I guess this will get all the fans, the Trekkies, like that was about the most Star Trek thing we have seen from the new generation of Star Trek shows since they began. I mean, they got the ship design right, they got the uniform right, it just looked like Star Trek. And it's like, guys, you can do it. You're able to make shows look like Star Trek. Do it a little bit more, okay? We don't need all. Not that Star Trek Discovery is horrible. It's actually really pretty to look at, but less blinking lights, less glossy, less this. Give us what we want. We want to see more of that Captain Will Riker scene, okay, which is really cool. And that's when the episode, things seem to resolve. Soji gets figures that, hey, maybe it's best not to destroy all of civilization in as we know it in the galaxy. Thank you. And I checked the clock and I was like, wait, there's still 20 minutes of this episode and it's kind of resolving. Like, what's going on? Right? Picard kind of goes into a coma because of his little brain issue. And he's beamed down to the planet and dies. And then I'm like, oh man. because they had set up that whole golem thing last week, and I had read an article where a guy speculated that, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if for the season finale they put Picard's essence, his brain, his whatever, into this golem, but it's a younger guy, and it's like now we can have 100 seasons of Picard. Picard could be like Doctor Who now, and then when the actor just gets tired of playing Picard, he can find a new golem, a new body to be put into, but it would be a totally different actor. And I was like, oh man, I mean, maybe I could deal with it. Depends how it's written, but I don't know. But here we get something a little bit different. After he dies, we have a scene of him and Data in this. What's my dog doing? I'm sorry, my dog was huffing and puffing over here. So, yeah, he opens his eyes and he's thinks he's in another deep dream, but in fact, he's in this massively complex quantum simulation. Okay, we have Data dressed in his uniform from Nemesis, which is the uniform he died in, and he starts talking to Picard, and Picard's like, "Wait, what's going on?" So it ends up that Picard's brain, okay, was uploaded right before his brain went totally dead, and yeah, his memory and consciousness was all put in the same quantum whatever this quantum simulation that Data's been in since however long. And man, this is where the episode shines for me, and I think for many of the fans, because I think it gave us closure on Data. I mentioned this earlier in these podcasts, how I thought that it was really important that they left Data dead. One, because Brent Spiner's old, he can't play Data forever. So at some point, he does have to come to an end. All right, the character needs to come to an end. But two, they gave it a satisfying end and made Nemesis not feel as crappy. I wish somehow they could do this for William Shatner and Captain Kirk, but yeah, because the TNG movies managed to kill off two fan favorites in really crappy ways. Oh my god! I mean, Data. I can sort of deal with Data. At least it was a cool scene, and he sacrificed himself for Picard, and it was well put together in that sense. But Kirk, well, I don't want to talk about Kirk. So they have this real nice quiet scene with each other. It was cool to see Brent Spiner be totally Data, not just those few lines in the dream sequences at the start of the season, but we got a full on conversation. And we find out that Data's been in this quantum hologram. I can never remember. What is it? Quantum simulation since he died. Okay? Since he died, he's been in there. And they get to talk, and we get to have a heart to heart. And, Picard gets to tell Data how much he meant to him, and et cetera, et cetera. Data gets to say he doesn't regret dying. It put more meaning to that death scene. It made it. I don't know. I think as a fan, if you miss Data, you feel better about the fact that he's dead now. I mean, he had a resolution. Like his story had a real resolution, and I thought it was really well written and well done, and obviously well acted. And Data tells Picard, "Hey, you're gonna be leaving, dude." And Picard's like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're going to be leaving. Your brain is in the Matrix, but they're about to upload it into the Golem, which is what happens. And I was so nervous. I was like, oh no, please don't let this be like a, Tom Hardy or somebody like that. Please don't let this be like a 30 some year old actor trying to play Picard. Please, please, please. And it wasn't. It was Patrick Stewart, and a very vibrant Patrick Stewart. And I love that about his acting, how he was able to give vibrancy to Picard as the season went on. I thought that was really important, and it's something that he did really well. And in fact, let me see here. I'm trying to get a picture here. That's me. And check this out. Dog is very excited. There's Mr. Patrick Stewart. Looking good. Looking great. And they went over all they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's. Hey, you didn't make me live forever, right? Of course not, because, Patrick Stewart doesn't want to do more than 3 seasons, probably. Hey, why'd you make me look like an old motherfucker? You could have given me a better body. It's like, man, we figured you're used to this body. We didn't want you to have to deal with having a 20-year-old body, which is absolute bullshit, by the way. If I were 80 years old and had bad knees, give me my 18 oh my God, what I wouldn't give to have my 18-year-old body in my 30 or 38-year-old brain. Not that my 38-year-old brain is all that much wiser than my 18-year-old brain, but I'd still trade that in a second. Oh my God, I would trade it in a second, right? Youth is wasted on the young, right? So, but whatever, we'll buy it because it's part of the script, right? we got to have more Patrick Stewart. And that's where I'm seeing here in a lot of the groups is the point of debate is, hey, is this really Picard? Is this really Picard, guys? What do you think? I think it is. I think it's still Picard. It's still Picard, but with a twist. Was it necessary though? That's that's the only question I would have. Like, how necessary is having this whole storyline of Picard, like basically dying to come back? Like, how necessary is that storyline? Not sure, but they did it. It's there. It's what we got, and it means Picard's healthy, which I guess is really important for us. But if I really think about it, I don't know how necessary it was. It would have still gotten us to point B. Especially since 80% of the season they didn't even bring up this issue. 1 second. Especially since 80% of the season they didn't even bring up his illness, right? It was like the 2nd or 3rd episode. and then nobody talked about it until he kind of fainted, and then it was like, don't talk about it, and then it's like, okay, so we get this. Was it just so he could meet Data in the afterlife? I guess maybe that would have been a reason for it, because how else would he have met Data other than that? I don't know. I mean, they still could have done something like, had Data been in that mega computer that whole time. Hey, by the way, since you're here, Jean Luc, I just wanted, I have something to show you, and then plugged some things on Picard's head and had him be able to communicate with Data in the afterlife. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Speaking of things that were unnecessary, that Borg cube, now it's like stuck in the water, which I thought it had crashed on land last week, but correct me if I'm wrong, but then it crashed on the water this week. And it was about the most useless artifact, useless thing ever is the Borg cube. Didn't do anything, didn't help in the fight. Um, Maybe next season it'll I mean, I guess it found a home. Maybe the ex Borgs found a home in the synthetic world. They're halfway there. But I didn't get it. Didn't get the necessity of this Borg cube, other than it looked really cool. And that 7 and 9 became the Borg queen for half a second. By the way, there's a bunch of Borg floating in space right now. But then she left with Picard. I mean, they became a crew all of a sudden. So what does that mean exactly? She just kind of left all the Borg behind, the ex-Borgs, to deal with the cube. I don't know. That was a weak point for me this season. I guess I'm going into a roundup of what I thought of the whole season plus this episode. But that being said, I don't sound like I'm not happy with the episode, but actually I am. I thought it was a cool like that the last 30 minutes saved it for me. The first 30 minutes was like, yeah, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. I think I like Discovery season finale a little bit more than this one. But yeah, but it was decent, and I think that's what Star Trek Picard has been this season. It's had moments where you went, wow, but for the most part, it's managed to just be very decent. Like played it safe while trying new things, but they weren't like very challenging new things. It was just okay. We're gonna take it a little bit slower. We're going to get a Picard that's kind of lost, which is different than the Picard that we're accustomed to. We're going to get a Picard that's not in Starfleet, which is definitely not something that we're accustomed to. So, yeah, I mean, it was different, but it was safe. I mean, is that like, it's different. Imagine, Picard is wanted for murder. I don't know. I'm fucking around. But, imagine something really, really, really out there, like almost like Deep Space Nine did with Pale Moonlight, where it was extremely subversive while still upholding Starfleet standards. But that's taking a risk, doing an episode like that. That's risky. Or uh, the episode in Deep Space Nine where they go back in time and Cisco's the sci-fi writer. That's taking a risk, right? It's like, wow, you're really taking the story. You're taking what Star Trek can be to its limits. Um, or yesterday's Enterprise, or what's the I'm terrible with names. But the episode where they played the loop over and over in Star Trek: The Next Generation, that's that for me is taking a risk. This didn't take many risks. Played it very safe. It just kind of gave us our characters a bit more broken, and it ended up, the whole season felt like a setup for there's a lot of setup episodes to finally get us to this resolution, which then felt like another setup for season two. Like season one just felt like a very long setup for season two, which is really open to possibilities. It could be almost anything, you know. And I think for what the writers had to do, which is resurrect a beloved character that hasn't been on TV for a very long time. When did TNG go off the air? Was it like 94, I think? I forgot now. Um, so, or no, it wasn't 94. It was a little bit later, right? So, to resurrect this character, after all these years, after Nemesis, after all of that, and give us new layers to him, it's a hell of a feat, guys. It's a hell of a feat. I mean, the easy way, of course, would have been to just, these are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Okay, space, the final frontier. And then these are the voyages. And then have Picard on the bridge of the Enterprise G or something. Or maybe he's an admiral in Starfleet and is called for a special diplomatic mission. Will Riker commanding the Enterprise G. Well, you know, if he ever came back, or Worf would be better, right? Because Riker was off on his own ship. Mm. That would have been easier. So they definitely took a different route, but they didn't take that many chances on that different route. But we shall see what season two brings. We know Guinan is signed on. I hope it does take a few more episodic routes. You know, I hope it's a bit more episodic than this because I dig the long story arcs, but it does get a little boring after a while to have the story long arcs, and it doesn't have as much rewatchability, at least not for me. Can't think of too many of these shows that require the whole season for you to get into it that I've seen more than once. I mean, I've seen Stranger Things or Game of Thrones a couple of times, but that's because, you know, I had to watch it again with my little cousin when he's over here for vacation. But had it not been for that, I mean, I can't see myself sitting through any of these shows twice because I realized, oh, this is an investment now that I have to make for 10 episodes. I can't just like kind of sit and watch my favorite episode. And then if I don't have time or if I don't want to sit through the next episode, I don't have to. So I don't know. You guys let me know how you feel about that. Well, that's it, guys. It is the 48-minute mark, which I think is long enough for this podcast. I've rambled on for quite a bit. I want to thank everyone that's watched this season. I will be back definitely for Star Trek Discovery. I will try to get some other content up here in the meantime. In case you don't know, I do live in Brazil. Check out my blog, brazusa.wordpress.com, to talk to me and read some of my stuff. I hope you enjoyed this season. Star Trek's back, Star Trek's alive, Star Trek's doing well, and I just hope it gets better and better and better. You know, this is definitely a smoother start than Star Trek Discovery, and just like Star Trek Discovery got better in the second season, I truly hope Star Trek Picard gets better in the second season. And I believe Mark Bernard, is that his name, is going to write some episodes from Fat Man Beyond. He was all giddy about it in one of his podcasts or shows with Kevin Smith. So that's cool. He seems like a cool character and he's a real Trek nerd. So that'll be cool. See you guys. Until next time, live long and prosper. Definitely live long and prosper. Don't forget to like and subscribe.